This is Mai Vu
Hello.
Coach with my beautiful daughter, Miss Maya, and we are here on another yummy episode of Mommy and Me Chat, talking about sex, love, and relationship with my daughter in the most authentic way that we can figure out how to do it, right? Anyway, it's my most favorite time of the day when I get to talk with you about your love life. So tell us what's happening.
Okay, should we just jump right in?
Why not?
Yeah, okay. So, my most recent experience was actually really interesting. I learned a lot from it, and everything like happened really fast, and when it did happen, I was like, "Oh my God, I need to talk about it because I feel like this is such a good topic, and to me it's really interesting, and it's a lot deeper than just like a surfacey thing. So, pretty much, I started talking to this one guy from Tinder. I actually I actually saw him at the gym a couple times and I always thought he was cute. And then we saw each other on Tinder. So I was like, okay, so it's a sign. So then we matched, then we started talking, and he happened to just move to Texas, like right when we started talking. So that's just some background. But anyway, so we were talking for about a month.
So it's a
And
long distance thing, right? So it's a
yeah,
new thing, but it's long distance. So all you can do is just talk on the
exactly.
text and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So for a whole month, we just texted, which is really surprising that we were able to like keep it going for that long, because I feel like most guys first are really bad at texting and
Mm,
two just gets boring or either they're kind of like, well, what's the point if I can't really see you because they're just like horny, right?
yeah.
But it I don't know, like he was really cool. I liked him a lot. We got along really well. He was super easy to talk to. Like the conversations just flow really well and it was just super smooth and like we had really similar um likes
Like
and
check,
dislikes.
check, check,
Yeah,
check.
I was just like, what the heck? Like it was all going really well and I was excited for this one because it was just so easy. And then we hung out. He ended up coming to visit for like a week and a half or something. And so I
Oh.
did see him. We hung out a couple times. And it was great. Like same thing, just like how we talk on the phone. Like we hung out in person and it was super easy and he was super well, I thought he was cute. My friends didn't think he was cute. I thought he was cute. But I think that's part of the when you start to like someone, you kind of get blinded. And so then you start thinking that everything about them is so great when really it's like, your friends are like, what? So, yeah, so slowly I started seeing a few like yellow flags where I was like, don't really like that, but it's not so bad that it's like something to worry about, or at the time
So
it
what
wasn't.
what
But
was
then,
in yellow flag?
um,
Well, right, because there's yellow flags and then there's red flag, right?
yeah,
So I want to
yeah.
know the yellow flags.
Well, this one is like something, I don't know, it seems small, but to me it's actually like a big deal, and it became a bigger deal later.
Ah.
But one thing was that so this guy's 23, right? And I'm 20. So he's 3 years older, which really isn't that much, but older than what I have been hanging out with. And he has his own place now because he just moved and. But he's he still uses like paper plates and like plastic silverware, red Solo cups, like on a daily, like every day. Like he doesn't
Mm.
use regular silverware. And when I saw that, I'm like, are you using like a red Solo cup and like are you drinking or something? Like I thought he was partying or whatever. He's like, no, I just drink out of that. And I'm like, you don't use actual cups? He's like, no, I don't want to like do the dishes, whatever. I'm like, so do you at least reuse it? Or do you just throw it away? He's like, no, I just throw it away. And I'm like, this is 2021, almost 2022, and he's still using plastic and just throwing it like what? And I was like, I heard that and I was like, just really confused. I'm like, what world do you think we're in? Like, people like the reason it's people like him is why our world is like crumbling. I'm like, how
Yeah.
do you not know this by now? And then another thing that was like a yellow flag was we in California we recently had the voting thing, for
The
the
recall, the vote
governor. Yeah.
recall.
Yeah, if we're gonna like kick him out or whatever. And like it's a big deal because it's basically, if you decide if California's gonna be Democrat or Republican, which is like huge. And so I told him, I was like, oh, like I just voted. And he was like, I don't really get what the point of that is. Like, why? Like, I never vote. Like, I don't really care. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know. To me, it's important because if we have the ability to make a difference, then we should use it, and I'm really not even good at like keeping up with the current events, and like mostly I get it from you or my dad or something. Like I don't listen or watch the news or like really pay attention. So whatever is like on social media, I'm like, okay, like I just see that. So I already think I'm bad at keeping up. But he
Mm-hmm.
knows absolutely nothing that's going on in the
Mm.
world, like nothing. And he doesn't even care. Like I don't really know, but I know that big things are happening, and I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like this is big. And like he didn't even know like the difference between red and blue, like Democrat and Republican. Like he didn't even know the two. And I'm like, what? How do you live in America and move to Texas and not know these things? Like,
Well, that's why he moved to Texas.
I know,
That
I'm like,
says it all. No.
so honestly,
Anyway,
that's probably more of a red flag than a yellow flag, but whatever. So
why
that's just
is
like an
that a red
example.
flag? Why is that a red flag for you? I mean, like, you're only 20 years old. Most of the time, people don't care about politics when they're 20 years old.
Do you think it's dark in here?
Yeah, losing sunlight. Ooh, I like it. It's good.
Okay. So, um, so why is that a red flag? Is that what you
For
asked?
you, yeah.
Well, so this actually gets into later on,
Okay, let's go to later
which
on
let's
then.
just let's just skip forward,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So this one night he just FaceTimes me, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Like he just called me, like, oh, and we just we like talked for hours and whatever, like it went really well, and then we start talking about like our futures and kind of like what we wanted to do and stuff. And for me, is that okay?
Yeah, you look
For
good.
me, I told him, I was like, I don't really know exactly what my path is yet. I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do, but I just know that, I wanna help people. I wanna make a difference in the world. Like I know I have a purpose to make a difference, right?
Mm,
To help people in a way. And like I know that that's just kind of like I was made that way. Like that's in my DNA, like that's
mm,
just weaved through me. And he basically said, he's like, oh, like that's interesting, but like I don't really care about that stuff. Like I don't care about helping people. I don't care about strangers. Like if I don't know you, like I couldn't care less about you. Like I literally don't give a shit. And I'm like, okay, like why don't you explain a little bit? I'm like, so what exactly does that mean? Because I get it. It's like maybe he's not gonna create this huge foundation to like help world hunger or something, but it's like I just wanted to know more about what that meant. And he was like, well, I mean, like for example, he was talking about like homeless people. He's like, honestly, like I don't believe we should help homeless people because it's like it's basically their fault. Like they're just lazy and like they don't like they deserve to be like that. And I'm like, what? Like there's no feelings at all. And then I started asking him about like I'm like, so are you like in touch with your emotions, like your feelings? Because he kept saying like growing up, like he was always told to like be a man, like don't cry, blah blah blah.
mm.
And I'm like, oh, like that's a rough one. Like that's something for you to really work on. He's like, I don't need to work on it. And I'm like, don't you think it's healthy to like, be in touch with your emotions? He's like, I mean, I just like don't cry, but I don't know. And I don't know. It was just really frustrating talking to him about it. And then what was the biggest thing? The biggest thing was he basically was just like, I don't really care. He's like, I've done so much already with my life that like all I have to do now is just get rich and have fun. And for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I want money. I want to have fun in life, right?
Yeah.
But while doing that, have a purpose and like do something. But that's
Yeah.
like all he cared about. And And then what did he say? He was like, oh, I was like, okay, well, you don't think you're gonna help anyone like at all? And he's like, well, when I am rich, like I guess like I might donate a little bit or something. And I'm like, why is everything about money? Like why, like why can't you, I don't know. It's not about that. And he's like, well, I mean, I'll help my family. And I'm like, oh, well, how will you do that? And he's like, well, when I'm rich, I'm gonna buy my grandpa a Rolex. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like by the middle towards end of this, I was just like and I am really bad at hiding my facial expressions. If something doesn't make me happy, I'm like, what? And so he's
But
just
that's why I'm
talking.
cracking up watching you talking about it because you're doing it, and it's like, oh my god, that's so funny.
I can't help it. I literally can't. Like, you can always read how I feel in my face. And he was just talking, and the whole time I'm just like, I'm not comprehending what's going on.
Oh.
And yeah, and it was so for me, like, why that's such a big deal is that it's like, one, like, that is so, um, somehow having an impact on the world and like doing something like that is just one. I've grown up around with a circle of people who that's all we do, right? Like that's
Yeah.
your purpose. That's my friends, like they all want to, like everyone I know is like that. So for me to all of a sudden come into contact with someone the complete opposite, like it freaked me out. So like, oh my God, like I knew it was kind of like a movie. I was like, I know people like that exist, but I never thought I would like associate myself or like come into contact with someone like that. And it really just shocked me. So I was like, holy shit, people like you exist. And like, and our generation, like I thought my generation was changing, like I thought we were like the step ahead. We're like, yeah, we're a different, like we care about our more emotional health. We're like more, we pay attention to that stuff more. We're just more open-minded, like at least the people I hang out with, but I guess not. So it just really shocked me. And then just hearing him talk, like it honestly was like physically painful for me to listen to it because it was just everything he said, it was like a stab. It was just like because it was so against everything, my whole being, like my universal soul, like everything about me. I was just like, that's so wrong and it's so not me. I was like, I can't. Instantly, I was like, I can't do this. Like, no.
It makes I'm actually feeling really teary because it makes me think of when you were little, and well, and all the kids were watching violent movies and all that stuff, and you just were so clear that you weren't going to watch any of that. And I had to ask you, I'm like, so why, why, what, what? Not like I wanted you to, but it's
Yeah.
like, why do you have that opinion? And you thought about it for a while, and then you got back to me and you said, you know, I don't because it hurts my soul.
Hurts my spirit.
It hurts my spirit. And that's what this feels like. That's what it feels like. That
Yeah.
conversation and being with that person was hurting your spirit, and it was stabbing at everything you that you are all about.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole like scary movie thing. I'm still like that. I still hate scary things.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand how you can do that. Like it just, it's
Well,
unnecessary stress and pain, like putting yourself through. I'm like, ooh.
I
So,
I I think this, and so what's the big learning here for you?
um, well, I was proud of myself because of course. So after we hung up, of course, I was just really upset. Because I was like, one, just upset about how everything about that. I'm like, huh? Just so confused. And then upset that everything was so going so well. I really liked him, and I'm like, but shit, there's no way I can continue with this. Like I can't even hold a regular conversation with him anymore without thinking that like, what the
There's
heck,
this great
what?
divide between us.
Yeah, and so oh, what was I gonna say? So, oh, I was proud of myself because I think this is maybe the first time that I've like acted so fast and like just really listened. Well, one, because this is probably the strongest I've ever felt like an absolute no. Like everything was like, oh no, this is not it. Like you cannot stay here. Like
Mm,
this is not for you. Like you will die here.
mm,
And so the next day, well, I was super busy at work, so it took me a while to actually text him, but I didn't say anything. I just messaged
mm,
him and I was just like, hey, I need to say something. I don't know exactly how to say it, but I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I had a lot of fun, but I realized that well, there's some things that are very different between the two of us, and I can't, I can't like move past that. So I don't think it's gonna work out. And just to show how much he really doesn't give a shit about anyone else, like all he cares about is himself. He was just like, oh, like was it something like last night? And I hadn't even opened it or responded yet. And he goes, okay, well, have a good one. That was it. And I'm like, okay, well, just by that response, good thing I ended it. Good thing I saw this early before I invested more energy and more time and got more like, if it got more serious or whatever.
more compromise.
Yes. Well, I totally like saw, I was like, shit, if I kept going with that, I would have gotten myself into just so much unnecessary like I would have been constantly, yeah, compromising and then making up excuses for him and just not happy and even though I was like, oh, I like he treats me pretty well, like yeah, he's sweet. I know like that would not have one lasted and he would have ended up just being a total dick.
Mm.
So I'm proud of myself for just instantly being like no and just ending it. Like super simple, super easy, just done. And yeah, but I don't, it was
There's a
weird.
but.
Huh?
There's a but.
There's no but.
I didn't think so.
There's no but.
It's so good. Oh my God. I can feel I can feel the disappointment in it because he was cute and he was had a lot of stuff check off about him. And what you're looking at is like at the core, we each have
Hmm.
our core sets of values that's who we are. And when that core set of values are not matching, oh my God, you one person has to completely revamp themselves. And like getting together with someone is already so challenging, and we do merge and we do give up a part of ourselves or blend a part of ourselves with the other person to make a
Right.
couple, right? But this one is so big, and I love that that you listen and that you felt your body and you just know that this is going to cost you a lot,
Yeah.
a whole lot, and
Yeah, well,
that cannot be
yeah,
given up.
yeah, it's like I knew I would have come, it just goes against every single thing in me. It's just like I would have lost myself and like I already started to feel that a little bit when we first met
Yeah,
because not that I like base everything off of like a horoscope or whatever, but to me it's a really fun way to get to know someone. I'm like,
yeah,
we literally are given this tool to like relate to each other and like easily, it's like a personality quiz already given to us. And then
yeah.
so I love asking like, oh, like, what sign are you, like what's our compatibility, what are you like, what do you not like, and I like going through and reading and seeing like if they relate to it, if they don't, because to me that's just interesting, it's just fun.
Yeah.
But he couldn't have cared less. He was like, I honestly don't understand it, I don't believe in it, I think it's stupid. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like it's still fun though, right? He's like, not really. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then like just things like intuition, and he didn't even know what that meant. And I was like, okay, like I'll teach you. And then like just everything that's going on right now, like intuition and manifesting and crystals and things that I've been brought up with, and just like he didn't believe in any of that and like just didn't care.
Silo
And to
Club.
me,
cup, just the red silo cup.
Yes, the red
We'll call
freaking
him
solo
the red
cup.
silo cup man. Well,
Yeah.
that actually is such a great metaphor, right? It's plastic, it's a throwaway, it's just for partying. That's it. The value system that you picked up from that cup says everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and on another reason why I was upset was just it was it was kind of like I was also upset that I invested so much, not even like that much, but like, I just that I came into his life and he didn't even understand how special that is. Like, and
Yeah.
I just not even to be like slightly appreciated or to be seen as like
Yeah.
special in a way, like because I know also deep down that not even does my work in the world have to be helping people, just I naturally want to, and I feel like I do. I have, and I bring something to every relationship that I have,
Yeah.
and I think it's a positive impact, and I think
No,
it's
baby,
special to get to know me,
yeah,
you know?
it's a privilege.
Yeah.
Again, I'm so touched and moved by your words because as your mom, I just know how special you are and how much you bring to, I mean, again, I have to tell another story of like remember when you were tiny, tiny and you were at grandma and grandma was tired or something and you just reach out to her and you said, "Here, take my hand. I'm gonna give you some of my energy."
Like, what the heck? I was like 5 or 6, right?
Right? No, you were like four. But my point there is I'm so glad that you know your worth and you know that you bring your heart and soul to any relationship, any person that you choose to spend time with. And that's the most valuable thing. And that you recognize that he didn't really see that and understand
Mm-hmm.
that. And that you took yourself out. Thank God, right? Because I know this is not easy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ah,
You
sorry,
froze.
I'm back. We're
Okay.
back. Okay. But so this happens to so many women, I maybe men too, where they're with someone who doesn't really have the capacity to see their light and the beauty that they bring, and then they stay, they compromise themselves and they
Yeah.
stay and they give up on themselves and they try to morph and be someone else to fit, and then they become abused and it's just ugly, right? And thank God that you have your head screwed on straight and said, this hurts my soul. This is not anything like me at all, and I have to get out of here or else it's going to cost me my whole entire being. That's
Yeah.
worth that's it. That's all you have is your whole being. So
Exactly.
I'm so
And
happy that you got out of that before it got worse.
and
Or that you didn't have to go chase after him to convince
ugh,
him
I don't
that you're
chase.
worth it.
I'm not a chaser, and I told him that. I was like, no. And yeah, I definitely, yeah, that knowing my worth and my how important I am is what makes it
Yeah.
so easy for me to just move on. Like all the guys that I've whatever hung out with and ended things with, I'm like, no, 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 like, and just because I know that, I'm like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you bring to the table. I don't care if I'm not being appreciated and seen for what I am, like, no. And thank God that I actually was in a relationship that I was appreciated for that and like
You
seen
were
for
loved, adored, and cherished.
because I know that it's possible, right? Like I know that
Yeah.
it's out there and I know that I it's just that it's possible. I feel like if I didn't have that, it would be definitely a lot more difficult for me to,
That's not
you
true
know,
because before that relationship, you had two other ones that you were, different circumstances. I mean, they were nice and kind to you, but it wasn't at this caliber. So yes, it definitely helped you to have been actually loved, adored, and cherished from your dad,
yeah.
from me, from
Yeah.
grandma
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
grandpa. You right, like your whole life had been, you have been treated that way, so you know the standard of that.
Hmm. So yeah, I
Um,
know it's definitely not just from my last relationship, and even without that, I would have still been
but now
okay. Just
we also have friends, Maya, that have had the same thing. They were loved, adored, and cherished by their parents. Their parents
hmm.
tuck it through and make it work and all this stuff. And then they still grow up with shitty self-esteem though. So
Yeah.
I I don't know what it takes to help a young person build up their self-esteem.
You know, you know how I said I don't know what I want to like do? I
Do
think
tell.
that's it. Like I think I want to help like I don't want to help people once they're already old and have all these terrible cycles and like they
Like
already
me.
have all these issues. I don't want to do that. It's way too much work. Well, it's going to be work either way, but like I want to start at the beginning and I want to teach kids and teenagers and 20-year-olds. I want to teach them what I got to learn growing up. Like I want to
Yeah.
that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's what
how
I want
yet,
you to do, but I
but I
haven't
want to
said
do
it.
that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And that's also part of that too is that's why I really loved it when you were teaching karate. I saw that
Yeah.
as a nice combo. It doesn't have to end. I mean, you just keep living your life and keep exploring, but putting those two together sounds really beautiful. And also
Mhm.
doing these conversations and getting our messages
Yeah.
out there and being a place for young kids to come to and talk to. You've always been that place ever since you were in your eighth grade.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, so there was a reason why you really wanted to jump on and do this conversation today. So what is it that you want to have a message to people your age and younger or older or whatever who's watching or listening?
Well, so so part of my data collecting with this experience or all of these experiences is the influence and the impact that it has on my friends, just through telling them the stories and having them kind of watch me do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is another thing I forgot. So that same day, so I talked to him at night, but that day, I went with my friends to a crystal shop and we got tarot card readings and palm readings. So, oh, I had already told you that, but this is a good background. So I had a lot of you're gonna have to explain this again, but a lot of just like movement and energy
Oh,
flow and like
energy. Yeah.
realizations that day.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that a little bit or?
Uh, just that you were raised to be aware of your energy and to understand that unlike silo cup man, red
Solo cup, solo cup.
solo cup man, you were raised to be in touch with how you feel and the energy and whatever that metaphysical world that comes.
Hmm.
And I'm not even that big of a metaphysical mom, but anyway, but I know enough to not destroy it from you or shame you or make fun of you. So I encourage you. So you're just aware of these things and you're still discovering how to use this access to this power. So apparently that day you were feeling more energy around you and you were feeling
Yeah.
some opening inside. What else? So what happened?
Um, yeah, so just a whole day of like realizations and a lot of I was tired just because of so much like the
Transmitting.
only way to for me to describe it is like energy movement.
Yes.
Just so much movement was happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just totally makes sense that that all had to happen that night. You know, it just I was like, what? Anyway, so oh no, what was I gonna say with that? Where was I
Come
going?
on,
What
you're
was I
too
saying?
young to lose your mind. So
Oh,
that day you went to this crystal shops and everything, and then, oh my God, there's this thing that I forgot to tell you.
shoot, shoot. No, this is scary. Okay. Oh, uh, so I guess I was just saying how. Oh my God. Okay. So basically, what they just kept saying multiple times, and keep in mind the palm reader was completely separate in a whole different room, and the
Yeah.
tarot reading was completely separate by two different people,
Yeah.
and they both it's crazy. They both like just
Yeah.
said the exact same thing multiple times, and I was like, holy shit, you
What did
know?
they say?
Well, a lot of things, but what has to do with this is they said that I've always been like this, and this is just how I am. But I am a big I teach by example, and like I'm a natural leader, and they described it as, and it's like good, but then there's also something I have to be careful about. And it was that they described it as it's like I'm climbing a mountain, right? And I'm a way higher, I've already reached the top or something like that. And then I look down and there's my friends and my family or, whatever, still climbing, kind of struggling. And they said that it could be dangerous because I could kind of go back down the mountain and try and like pull them up, and that would just be too much, on me,
Right?
and like it would pull me down. So I
Yep.
said it's really important for me to just stay at the top
Yeah.
and just keep leading by example, and eventually, they'll get there,
Yeah.
which I was like, that's interesting because I do like
Yeah.
somehow my friends have all grown so much, I can tell. And of course, I've helped them through things, and I've talked to
Yeah.
them about it, and I've tried to help them make the right decisions. But it's also, I feel like, a lot just from watching me, you know? Anyway, so part of the whole experiment and the data collecting is how my friends react, how they learn from it, and
So I
shit.
want to jump in and share this bit about what you're referring to about this experiment. I know that most parents raise their children, their daughters, to keep your legs closed and, go to the best school so that you can meet the nice guy and get married and become Mrs. So and so and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on if you're asking me or your
Unfortunately.
dad.
No, my dad thinks the same thing.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it's not my agenda. This is something that I teach my client, to do a personal PhD program on sex, love, and relationships so that they can understand who they are and how they love, how they have sex, and how they get in relationship so that they can maneuver better. And you decided on your own to do that. I mean, you
Yeah.
actually ended a very beautiful relationship with a very beautiful young man who love, adore, and cherish you so that you can teach yourself and be on this journey, which is amazing. And you're so brave, really. And
Yeah.
you have been doing your own personal PhD program of
Hmm.
experiencing with different men so that you can understand men, understand yourself, and understand relationship and learn to get in, get out, get in, get out, get
Yep.
in, get out,
Yep.
get in, get out, so that you're not attached and develop your wings, your power in relationship instead of being so needy and codependent and needing someone to make you feel good about yourself and all that stuff and you're as you're doing this, you're identifying your own addiction pattern, your own attachment pattern, your own
Mm-hmm.
insecurities, and that you're trying to help yourself to learn to grow. I think it's amazing that you're on this journey, and I totally support you.
Yeah, you described it very well.
Yes. Anyway, so let's bring this to a close. So, what is it that you want to leave for your
Right.
viewers?
Right. That just came full circle. That's what I've been trying to get at, but I forgot. Anyway, so like I said, this whole thing is not also just about me. It's also learning I how I impact other people too, right? Like by going through this. And I think the biggest thing is that when I told them that all of a sudden I just ended it, because they knew how much I was into them. Like they were like, "You need to calm down. Like you're a little obsessed to be honest." I'm like, "Really? Like what?" Like I fell into that a little bit, but I got myself out like that. It was easy. I don't miss him at all. Like it was just like, ugh, get away. But but when I told them, like it was like the next day, I'm like, oh, by the way, like I ended it with him. Everyone was like, wait, what? Like what? Like that was so sudden and so like how? Like how can you just be so in it and then just completely just be out of it like that easily? And I don't know. I think that's something that was just really shocking for every single one of my friends that I told. And I think I don't know. I think it's a bold move that everyone needs to learn. And to me, like, that's cool. Like, that's having your power and like owning, like, you and who you are and just making the decisions, And I'm like,
Well, the way I watch you feel about yourself right now, I see a sense of pride,
yeah,
like, and you feel powerful. And that's, to me, is an indication. Like when I went through my own personal PhD program, I finally, after 3 years of like scraping my heart left and right, shattering every idea that I had, and then
hmm
I I finally get to a place where I'm like, oh, I walked away from that. I am so proud of myself, and that's how people should date. This is
hmm
every time you have an engagement with someone, you gotta walk away feeling proud of yourself and feeling like I just fell in love with myself. I am so
hmm
super like that's an indication that you're on the right path.
yeah. And
Yeah,
it's like, and it's not even like I'm sad that the relationship or whatever was over and like, and honestly, all of the guys that I've hung out with, like, there's been some that have ended like really bad and just like, ooh, but I don't regret any of them. I appreciate all of them and I'm proud about all of them. Because I'm like,
yeah,
I grew, I learned from all of them, and I feel like I handled all of them in a really good
that's right.
way.
Yep,
And even in the moment when it felt like, oh, like I'm falling back into this old cycle or I'm feeling, you know,
yep,
like it was just like I allowed myself the time to feel that and to
yep,
go through it. And I was like, it's just part of it. It's just
yep.
that's just part of it. And
Just part of it. Allow yourself and learn to love yourself as is.
yes, that's the
Yippee!
message. That's the message, ladies and gents.
Whatever you do, you have to fall in love with yourself, take your power,
Yeah.
make it quick. If you
Yep.
need help, call Maya. Or me. I'm right behind her.
Yep.
All right, let's bring this to a close. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your story and including me into your life. I know I'm your
Yeah.
mom, but most moms don't get to be in this space. So I'm super excited to be, to be here with you. And I'm just really touched and moved by who you are and what you're discovering about yourself and the practice that you're developing for yourself when it comes to sex, love, and relationship, honey.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I was super excited to talk about this one. So I really
yeah.
appreciate being able to and hopefully this is helpful. And
Yes.
and and it's so cool because just last thing, I learned so much from you as you're just the same way, like just watching by example and just watching you, right? And now I feel like we're giving that to a bigger audience, hopefully, that's
Yeah. So
now that I want to be the example. It's so
yay!
cool.
You're not so shy anymore. You're like tonight, you're really stepping into the work that you're here to do. This is so exciting. Oh my God.
Well, the
Well,
tarot reading did say that right now I'm in a time of rest. I'm in a time of
yes.
self-care, rest,
Yep.
preparing myself, and then literally it's coming. Like she's like, "No, it's coming." And once it's here, it's going to be like takeoff. Like you're going to be in a rocket going to space. Like it's nonstop, so you better get ready.
I'll be there
So,
to support you, baby. You got it.
oh yeah, here I come.
Here you come. uh, anyway, so let's thank you for watching and for um, commenting and sending us love. We really appreciate you watching our channel and liking. If you like it, please like, please make comments, and please share. And let's help Miss Maya get herself out there to speak to the younger generation and be the guide that is so needed out there. You don't have to keep crashing and burning and hurting yourself when it comes to sex, love, and relationship. You can really do this in a powerful way, and we can help you totally.
Mhm.
Anyway, this is Mai Vu Coach, and this is Miss Maya signing out for this time. See you in the next chat,
Yay!
the next episode for Maya's Love Life. Woo-hoo. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.